Hi guys, I'm EVM and welcome back. This is one of those short videos where I want people to go into the comments and start discussing what I'm about to talk about. And that is the current lockdown that we're in, is that going to have an effect on people's future decisions when it comes to personal transportation? We're all living in a terrible time at the moment. There are lots of people dying and there's more important things going on in the world. But this is an electric car channel, so I'm going to concentrate on that part of, well, what is history at the moment. The fact that this lockdown is creating unprecedented levels of much better air quality, water quality and various other things, mainly due to the fact that people aren't driving around and, well, burning things. Now, of course, it's not just the petrol and diesel car that has gone off the roads that is making the air quality better. Factories are shutting down, planes aren't flying, various other things happening. So it's not just down to them, but that is what I want to kind of concentrate on, because there is irrefutable evidence coming from pretty much every city around the world that the air quality is so much better than it was before the lockdown, or rather this time last year, that it can't be ignored. It is solely down to that reason. People are driving less, they're not burning effectively fossil fuels for the most part in their petrol or diesel cars, me included, and therefore the air quality and various other things, smog, pollution in general, is a lot lower. So what I want you to discuss in the comments is whether or not you think this is going to have an effect on future decisions about what car people buy next. If someone's saying, I'm going to buy a brand new car, let's imagine this whole situation's done with and over. If someone's buying a new car, is it going to push them down the road of zero emission cars more than it was before? Mainly due to the fact that there's all this evidence, visual evidence, in your face to say that this is how it could be. This is how the world could be if people stop burning things. Now, I have tried to shy away from environmental issues on this channel for many reasons. One, I have a petrol car still, I have an electric car. I have never been an environmentalist and I still aren't. I am leaning more towards that as life goes on and things happen in the world, but ultimately I would class myself as just another person. I care about the environment, but I'm not quite ready to give up certain things I like in life for it yet, which is slightly selfish, I guess. So I'm not going to try and preach to anyone in this video. That is not what this is about. This is to discuss whether or not the general public is going to be swayed into going down a zero emission vehicle because of current events. And let me be clear, when I say zero emission, I do mean at the source, of course, clearly. There is an impact with an electric vehicle. And note, I said electric vehicle, not battery electric vehicle. Whether it's hydrogen, whether it's battery or whatever, it's going to have an impact. That much is clear. The grid, if it's cleaner, makes the electric car cleaner, or at least the battery electric car. So yes, I am not arguing that the electric car isn't cleaner than a petrol car. I think any crackpot which still believes that a petrol car is cleaner than electric, there's no point in arguing with them. No more. I'm going to stop doing it. Every peer-reviewed scientific paper says the same thing. Electric vehicles over their entire lifespan are cleaner than a combustion engine. There's no point in discussing it anymore than there is having a discussion with someone who thinks the earth is flat, and I've mentioned that before, or someone who thinks this pandemic is down to 5G, because we all know that radio waves carry viruses, don't they? So yeah, that's not what this is about. This is about whether or not this in-your-face evidence of cities having cleaner air is going to make a difference to people's decision in the future. When it comes to new car time, are they going to go down either maybe a full electric car or even a plug-in hybrid, something like that? Because let's face it, not everybody can own an EV at the moment. I freely admit, and always have done, that if I couldn't charge at home, I wouldn't be able to own a full electric vehicle. It's just not possible. My nearest rapid charger, although there's been a new one put in recently, is now only 9 miles from me. A single rapid charger that I have access to, and it is free at the moment as well. But 9 miles, an 18-mile round trip, is not exactly going to make it easy to live with, is it? So I appreciate that cost is a factor, range for some, and clearly being able to charge at home is a factor that people have to get around, something that is a hurdle to get over. So that's why I kind of use the word, are people's interest going to be increased after this event, rather than are people going to go out and buy one? It is different at the moment because we're almost in an accidental experiment, something which could never ever be designed by anyone, even a government. Can you imagine someone saying, well, we just want to shut down transport for 2-3 weeks across the country or even the world, just to see what happens, to the environment, see how much cleaner it gets? That would never ever happen. This is historical to the point where they will be teaching this in schools. I'm absolutely certain about that in decades to come. Hopefully it won't be as bad as it could be, but let's move on. Somebody saying in a white coat, a major respected scientist, that if we stop burning fossil fuels as much as we do, the air will be cleaner. If someone said that now, well, let's face it, they have been saying that for many, many years. But people just kind of go, well, yeah, I suppose they're probably right, but it kind of becomes white noise, doesn't it, after a while? People hear it, but they don't hear it. Well, now this is visual. People can see it. It's in their face. This is what it is going to be like if we can stop burning stuff. People see something and it sinks in more than if someone tells them something. So I genuinely believe that there is going to be an increased interest in maybe plug-in hybrids or full electric vehicles at the moment in some way, because of this lockdown, because of the accidental experiment that has turned out data that is, as I said before, irrefutable. I mean, do you live in a city, the centre of London, centre of LA, anywhere, and can you actually breathe the difference? I live in North Yorkshire, quite rural, so it's kind of normal to me, and I probably wouldn't notice any difference. If I ever visit London, I mean, I went to London a month or two back, and you can smell the difference. I mean, it's mainly just cars going past and you get used to it very quickly because that's the world we live in. But does it make a difference to you if you live in a city centre? Has this lockdown changed what you actually experience when you're walking around the streets or even just in your back garden? Can you go, well, yeah, it is actually different. This is in my head now. I get it. I suppose the trouble is people have been, lied to, quite frankly, by people we should be able to trust. The government, for example. Let's all buy diesel cars, they're cleaner. Clearly not. So I get why some people are a bit hesitant when they come and think, well, now they're just saying buy electric cars. They're clean. It is different because scientists are saying this now, not just the government, because they want to sell you more things. And they always have said this. Burning things which create emissions logically can only be a bad thing, I suppose. I mean, we live in the modern world. You have to move around. Transportation is needed. But if you turn the car on, a petrol car in a garage, and shut the doors, you know what's going to happen. It will kill you. You will die. Obviously, if you did that in an electric vehicle, it wouldn't. So there's your instant visual aid. It's a bad thing when you emit stuff. It's such a small amount that comes out of most people's cars, you don't see it. But as the phrase goes, every little helps. And all of a sudden, now we've got millions of people worldwide not driving. It's made such a big difference. So it's hard to get your head around. It really is. This is, it's history. I personally think that there will be an increase in interest. The barriers that I mentioned already about ownership of an EV will still be in play, but I think a lot more people will get it. In the UK alone, there are millions of people who could easily own, let's say, a battery electric vehicle. They've got off-road parking, probably more than one car in the household. There are many people with that. And ultimately, it just shows that they could own one easily. They've chosen not to for whatever reason. There are millions of people out there that bought a new car in the last few years that could have been electric because they've got another car to use for long ranges, or like myself, I could easily own an electric vehicle, and I do. There are many people in the UK like that, as I've said. So why didn't they choose that? Is it because they didn't like the thought of them? They didn't like how they drive? They didn't really see the environmental aspect of it, or believe what people are saying about the environmental aspect of it? Or is it just familiarity? People, generally choose the path of least resistance, don't they, in life, me included. So will this appeal to them? you know, if you're one of those people that logically could own an electric vehicle with no real change to your normal lifestyle, I guess, has this changed your opinion on things? Are you going, all right then, I'm going to elevate the environment on my priority list? We could all do things, you know, become a vegetarian or even a vegan. Stop eating meat, basically. I like meat. Red meat I could probably give up if I'm honest, and we don't have much of it, but chicken, things like that, I'm not ready. I am going to be selfish and pick meat eating, even though environmentally it's probably better if I didn't. I still own my Mini Cooper S because it's great fun to drive, even though I could have sold that and got the Tesla instead. So I could have had the Leaf and the Tesla. I could have gone full electric in this household, but I didn't because I wanted to keep my petrol car. So there are other things in play here. So does this visual aid, the air quality change that's going on in the world right now, change your opinion on it? Has it changed mine? Well, I was already electric anyway, but ultimately it's reaffirmed what I already believed. Whether or not I'm ready to change what I do in life, I guess that's the decision now. But for you, has this changed anything? Does this mean that you're now going to think, all right, then I might not do that. I might not get that car. I might look at the hybrid version of it, or I might look at even the full electric version of it. It's in my price bracket. I can charge at home. There's no real reason I can give other than I just preferred something else. So yeah, that's what I want this video to create. I want to create the discussion in the comments below about what this whole lockdown experience that we're going through as far as transportation and air quality goes, has this changed things for yourself? Has it meant that you're going to choose to buy something else in the future? Hopefully this is something that's going to end a lot sooner than we hope and it could do, but we'll just have to keep plugging away and doing little videos like this. Clearly, me sat at home and talking to the camera isn't the most exciting video in the world, but content for what is usually externally done is getting harder and harder to come by, as you've probably noticed from many other YouTube channels around there. So yeah, please light up the comments, tell me what you think. Have a good one, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.